for the benefit of anybody who maybe is watching the stream, we're missing one player. He'll be here shortly, but we're going to go ahead and get started. We last left off our fateful adventures as the Left Stars had woken up the morning of day 2 of the Battle of the Boasts. Or sorry, excuse me. Screwed things up already. Woke up after the Battle of the Boasts for day 2 of the Tournament of Tales. You all had convinced Klax to participate, despite his worries about possible vulnerabilities that he may bring with him, and had all eventually met with both Avendir and Arcana, the mysterious purple man, to register for the competition by touching a mysterious cold blue orb. With that complete and the second round not beginning until later that evening, you sought to kill some time. Avendir had a quick meeting with Mouse, sort of expressing his paternal-esque concerns about your party business with the airship. Before you all went some sightseeing throughout Horizon, visiting both the Shrine of Quintessence and the Augury and Alchemy shop, which you did some shopping at. You eventually arrived at the Horizon Theater and learned that your personalities had been imprinted upon a programmed illusion broadcast to the theater stage. And along with the other competitors, in this illusion, you fought a fire elemental incursion, successfully defeating them, although making some choices throughout that sort of like the power in your hands of who you can save and who you can't and how, which leaves an impression on the crowd. You ultimately Avendir had excused the theater audience and invited everybody to join him at the Rising Melody, where you would learn who is going to become finalists and participate in the third and final round of the Tournament of Tales. And that's where we left off. So as the crowd stands up and begins to disperse, you are all sitting in that front row of seats, sort of looking at, just sort of acknowledging each other and acknowledging what all just happened. What would you like to do?
I think in a distraction of my embarrassment, I am going to look over at the other contestants and be like, you guys did a really good job. But that was very strange and very weird. And I kind of don't really know how to take what just happened. But how are we feeling? How are we doing mentally?
Heart Crusher, as you gauge from her always on personality, she just sort of looks at you with like a cocky grin and was like, it was great. I mean, I didn't actually do it though. They just like figured us out and can I even take credit for that?
I mean, it was you doing it, wasn't it?
I mean, sure. And you look at Destin and he sort of like has a confused look on his face as well, and says, I mean, I know that I'm capable of doing those things. I don't know if I would have actually had the courage to do it that well.
Yeah, we all think we're going to do something different in those kind of situations. Yeah, I agree.
ATL is there, but in this sort of moment, she just sort of is nodding along.
Right.
Her assistant is behind her, but at the present has not chosen to speak up for her.
Well, shall we walk back?
Heart Crusher nods and then says, let's go, teammate, and she pulls Destin up. And they sort of start to walk out. The rest of your party I believe they were seated just next to you.
Mm-hmm.
So as your opponents stand up and disperse, you look towards your allies.
Hey, that was crazy.
That was awesome. We should totally look into making some of these movie thing.
What's movie? Is that how you said it?
I mean,
It's what
like-
those hip folks and consonants are making these days.
Haven't been there in a little while. I don't know.
Regardless, but also we have to. I mean, one, we slash not we hypothetical us did great. Of
Yeah,
us
I am very
doing
proud
great.
of us. Yes, that we did. Y'all did amazing.
You did so good, smooching a man on the ground.
Was that shown on screen? I don't think it
So,
was.
the nature of the way that it was broadcast was sort of whenever it was your turn, imagine that the camera cuts to a narrow shot of what you are doing as opposed to the bird's eye view. So every little scene was captured in full screen detail.
Yeah.
High definition.
Was it? I didn't see. Was there a smooch there? I didn't see one. I must have missed it or blinked. I don't really know what you're talking about.
I mean,
Wait.
if there wasn't, which I think there was, you should totally play up that there was. I really don't think that could have gone any better.
which
Shorin's still here.
I was gonna say is Rory, Jory.
You can roll a perception check, Jory.
I
If you
am
would
not
like.
looking for him.
I'm actively very much looking.
With a 21, you do spot that where the judges were sitting throughout this, which was actually sort of next to your row, the judges have already stood up and started to walk away, but you get the sense that Jory had intercepted the judge that he's working for, Gross Alabaster, and had sort of began walking with him. So they are on their way out, but you do spot him.
He's just right over there, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you should like chat with him or something. That'd be crazy.
He seems
Mhm.
occupied.
His mouth was occupied earlier.
I didn't kiss him on the mouth. It was a
His-
cheek.
His cheekbone was occupied earlier.
His
I'm just-
imaginary cheekbone? I mean, it didn't actually happen. It just could have happened.
Hmm.
Hey man, the audience loves a like romance. You should like lean into this, get some extra points.
Oh god, I don't even know where to begin. Oh lord. He doesn't even know. What's the
I
problem?
mean, I think he does now.
As
Hmm.
but they're like, I think he might know now.
Yeah, well,
You might need to chat some. As much as I'm doing this to make you uncomfortable in a cute, fun, quirky way, also you should talk.
yeah. I think so too.
If I'm going to only allow Flint to roll an Arcana check based on something that's on my mind. Okay. Do with this information what you will, Flint, but seeing how this process played out A to Z, the sort of registration of your impressions and then them being broadcast onto the screen, you don't know precisely how this sort of thing works, but you register the cold sensation that you had when you touched it, and you do recognize that when Avendir described this as an impression, that it was something more akin to a vision, which gives you some sense of validation that what happened is what actually would have happened, given the constraints of the illusion. This was not sort of a artist's rendition of what you all would do. The nature of the cold sensation that you all experienced was sort of a blip of time where you guys would have experienced this vision before it was erased from your minds. So you can kind of like internalize. You do with this information what you will. You can internalize that like there's something there with Aesopp and Jory you don't necessarily know what, but it wasn't an accident that it happened on stage.
Sure. I'll mostly keep that to myself at the moment.
It was totally an accident.
As you all are just sort of like taking a sigh, of all the people leaving, Avendir actually stops by to. He was sort of on the stage, so he's sort of the last person who can leave, but he steps off the stage and sort of has a quick check in with you and says, I mean, based on the work you've done so far for me, I knew you were capable. I didn't quite think you were that capable. Which I mean, respectfully, I just haven't seen it in action until now.
Did we do good? Did we do well?
I mean, I'm impressed.
Oh, okay.
Could have maybe tried to save the mayor, but
Avendir looks over and says, I might have to talk to him. He's already a little displeased that I'm leaving town.
There's just a lot of emotions going on. It was just tough watching for me, I guess.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I can't tell you not to feel that, but I am proud to be your ally thus far, and I'm excited to see what's next.
Much appreciated. And I'm thinking in my mind how lucky I am that my parents did not see any of that.
there's like a banquet tonight. Is that right?
It's already quite late. I think we're actually just hoping to rendezvous at the Rising Melody and hear what the judges have to say. I think they're currently in deliberation. You look, and I would say Drada looks, having tracked Jory before, and it appears, it sort of happens in the blink of a moment, but you look and they all just vanish, as if through some teleportation magic. The judges have disappeared from the area, and none of them looked concerned when they did it. It was sort of like you get the impression that they are going to arrive at the Rising Melody before everybody else so that they can deliberate in private.
That Arcana guy weird anybody else out?
Just a lot.
Avendir's here and he says that's basically him in a nutshell. So
Vibes, cool.
well, I'll see you all soon.
Head for the Rising Melody.
Very well. He will walk with you if you want. Otherwise, he just sort of starts walking by himself, and you guys can lag behind and talk amongst yourselves if you'd like.
How do you feel about the whole thing, Plax? What we just saw?
I thought it was pretty fun, to be honest. Very much enjoyed it. I thought, we all handled ourselves pretty well. I know the mayor wasn't particularly happy, but he was pretty much already toast by the time we could even do anything. So
That is true.
all in all, I thought it was
The
good.
Literal toast, yes.
The Drada's with me. No, I thought it was excellent. I never saw that challenge coming. Yeah, back to that arcane guy is really weird, and I don't know how he can do something like that, but it was really fun. But I also learned now I'm not going to touch strange orbs.
Should we light you on fire more often? Is that
I don't know if that's the way to go. But yeah, I guess the projection me or the imprint me seemed to really be enjoying it. But I can understand where he's coming from.
yeah?
It did look
mean-
pretty cool.
Thanks, y'all, for having my back. That was great to see, and I know if it was an actual fight, it would be the same. So I just wanted to say thanks.
No, thank you for asking me to come along. I would have missed out on a pretty good time, to be honest. Well, shall we go?
It's mosey.
And let's just see if we can keep Avendir in sight, just since we are. I don't want to walk with him, but just make sure, since we're in the streets at night.
Yeah, it is pretty dark, but those of you with dark vision have at least the ability to. Well, I would say Avendir probably has a torch or a light of some kind. Like nobody's like walking in the dark even on the roads here. So, yeah, you get the impression he's just sort of walking with random sort of attendees and sort of having small talk with folks. You don't see him talking to anybody in particular as you're just sort of keeping him in your vision. But you all eventually, it's a good like hour-long walk back, and those of you who are good at keeping track of time know that it's already getting pretty late in the evening, to the point where, especially if you need to turn back and go to the canopy, you're probably not expecting to spend much time at the Rising Melody. But you eventually do arrive, and you find that the crowd is a bit smaller. It had sort of dispersed. Not everybody wanted to. The theater can fit more people than the Rising Melody can. First of all, so you find that of the people who have showed up for this sort of revealing of the results, you have, of course, Avendir, the judges. You have some of the mayors, and so basically a lot of the named people and a few other stragglers. But the Rising Melody for this time of night is relatively empty as you come in, compared to the sort of fullness that you've seen it at before, or the capacity you've seen it at before. One of the sort of concierge sort of folks.
Give me 1 second.
Sure. Leads you to your tables and sort of asks you if you want a round of drinks to celebrate the night, and hooks you up with whatever it is that you do or don't want. But you guys are seated, and is there anything you'd like to do while you're waiting to hear the results? You see that you don't really see the judges in sight at the moment.
Is Jory here in the room?
Go ahead and roll a perception with advantage, because there's not a whole lot of people here right now.
I say I would be keeping an eye out for any of our people of interest.
Same. Red dresses.
White tieflings or minotaurs?
No minotaurs. No red dresses or recognizable faces that would allegedly be wearing a red dress. People of interest, can you identify who it is that you're referring to?
Basically all
All
like
the above?
Jory,
Okay.
lady in a red dress, the tiefling, minotaurs.
Something is
Lord
happening.
Fire.
Yeah, something's happening with my headphones.
That's not good.
No.
Okay, we'll see how it goes. Jory, keeping a specific eye out for him, you do see that Jory is currently behind the bar, kind of like next to the piano, and seems to be like waiting outside the door that leads to the back room.
With my perception check, can I see what the look on his face is?
That would be more of an insight check.
Dang. Okay.
I'd also ask, are you trying to get his attention, or is this like a candid scope?
I'm gonna try to talk to him after the results.
Okay. Well, give me a perception just to get a sort of initial read on him.
Not insight.
No, sorry, insight. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, it doesn't matter. That's what I get.
Yeah, you see him. You know where he is.
Hmm. Just a lot going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perhaps you notice him and then you look away, like just in a sort of moment of shyness. You're not prepared to assess.
Not prepared for it. Okay. Gotta turn my body away to kind of like not lock eyes with him accidentally.
Anybody else doing anything in particular right now?
Enjoying a beverage. Kind of just sitting there thinking to myself, "Oh, that's pretty cool."
Very well. Within a few minutes, you hear the doors in the back room open, and all of the judges come out. Jory is there, sort of. In his current role seems to be like opening doors and whatnot for folks and clearing the way. Not that it's tremendously crowded, but that just seems to be the role that he's playing in the moment. And you see all four of the judges kind of come out into the main tavern area, and all of them sit down except for Breath, which is Breath of Fresh Air. I'm just abbreviating to Breath, the Tabaxi woman who sort of raises her arms to sort of get the crowd's attention. She is not standing on anything at the moment, but she does project her voice enough for all of you to hear. Thank you all for coming, and thank you to our wonderful contestants. And she waves over to Aesopp and everybody else. You are all sort of sitting in different areas right now. Thank for all of the memorable performances that you've given during this year's Tournament of Tales. The judges would like to commend each of you for your participation over the last 2 days. It's no easy thing to step on stage in front of such a decorated crowd, and for that, the judges wish to recognize your courage. And while Arcana's simulation was a bit of an abnormal sort of performance, we were not disappointed by what we saw. There's sort of like a polite round of clapping as she takes a pause before she raises her hand again. Young Destin Oren from the Source Institute. She looks at him as if sort of putting the spotlight on him. You showed great courage in stepping on the stage during the Battle of the Boasts, following several remarkable performances that had set a high bar. And in the simulation, you showed ingenuity with your spellcraft and, despite your inexperience, did not back down from a fight. Many thanks to Lord Benedict Darkdraft for nominating such a talented young man for the tournament, and thank you, Destin, for your participation. There's a polite round of applause among folks, and you see Destin sort of shrinks back, a little bit shy, but like, nodding light thanks to those who are immediately around him. If at any point you guys want to interrupt, just like feel free to do so. But
I look towards. Am I with the group?
Yeah, I would imagine you guys are all sitting together.
I kind of just like lean my head closer, and I'm like, does that mean he didn't make it through? That's what I got.
Yeah, I'm with Drada.
I'm gonna lean back.
Breath raises her arm again. The Goliath Heart Crusher is a formidable fighter as well. She and Destin may not possess the hailing capabilities that the other teams did, but the simulation was designed to show off their strengths, and Heart Crusher, she looks to her and says, you showed up strong. Even as you opted for Aurelia's Song of Truth in the first round during your spoken word, as you described the slaying of the Great Purple Beast at the Tundra Wastes, it seems that that was an unnecessary song choice, because seeing what you've done against these elementals, we know that you are capable of doing what you've done. We have seen your strength and wish to thank the absent Duke Stonespire for nominating you for the tournament, and thank you for your participation. Another light round of clapping. The Breath speaks up again, and the impression you're getting is that nobody has been eliminated just yet, because the it seems like Breath is making the rounds, giving gratitudes to everybody.
I leaned over to Aesopp and I was like, why do you think nobody else brought friends? That was part of this, right?
I mean, that was made clear to us. Maybe it wasn't made clear to them.
Maybe they don't have as good of friends as you.
I have great friends. Just kind of hold your hand if you'll allow me. Just
Of course.
squeeze a little bit.
Breath speaks up. The Lady Aetiel Cromvale dazzled us with an illusory story of wonder, sharing the story of Amthras, an ever-changing culture, and a young girl who silently fought to restore and maintain the ancestral home of the elves. We were all very touched, my lady. He looks to her, and she looks to her and says, "My, I think even Arcana teared up a bit." And there's like mild laughs throughout the crowd. You guys look at Arcana, and his face hasn't changed at all. And as the impression of your spirit took on the fire elemental scenario with your companion, we were further impressed by your power and your compassion. Thank you to the absent Duchess Sina for nominating a champion for this tournament, and thank you, Lady Cromvale, for your participation. More claps, more applause. Various shows of appreciation. At this point, you haven't really gotten that anybody is sort of has the crowd's favor. Nobody's been getting like hooting and hollering just yet. And then she raises her arms one more time and says, "And of course, I wish to take a moment to recognize the tournament's final contender, Aesopp Tiern, the first to step on the stage during the Battle of the Boasts, and the one who set such a high bar to boot. Aesopp," she points towards you, "your story of adventure enraptured the minds of all of us in attendance, and while there were threads of truth woven throughout that story, we were all pleased with you proving your mettle during the Battle of the Scenario. While you did perform admirably in this second round, we should also like to recognize your companions, the Left Stars, for their part. As the chief editor of the Pinnacle Library, I've read many articles of history that describe legends and heroes, but such individuals are never alone. And while we as judges are particularly measuring Aesopp's performance and the performance of the other competitors, his choice of companions is a strength of its own. Thank you to Avendir for hosting such a wonderful event, for nominating such a wonderful champion, and thank you, Aesopp, for your participation." The crowd, it's a similar level of clapping. It seems like everybody here is being polite this late in the night.
Can I look at Jory? Is he looking over our way, or is he just kind of like not even?
With your earlier perception check, you know where Jory is. You look at him. He's looking right at you and clapping. He's a smile on his face. He goes from like, I can't do it while holding my push to talk button, but he goes from like a light clap to like a small wave towards you.
Just like
He's on the other side of the room though, so Breath sort of quiets the crowd and says, "However, a tournament must have a victor, and we have nominated 2 such individuals to move forward into the final round. Those who have not been nominated know that you have performed admirably, and that you join a long list of noteworthy contenders who've braved the stage. But, as we must move on, without further ado, I would like to introduce our 2 competitors. The 2 who will face off one-on-one in tomorrow's final competition, the Battle of the Verse. Your finalists, Heart Crusher. She raises her arm, and Heart Crusher's like, and there's a bit of clapping, and then she says, and Aesopp Tiern.
Much louder shouting in support.
I'm not shouting this time.
I'm clapping.
There is, as opposed to the polite claps from the greater crowd before, people have taken this as the sign to sort of give their last hurrah of the night, and you look around. Is there anybody who is looking in any particular direction that you'd like to gauge the crowd with on this announcement?
I already looked at the man I kissed earlier, so I'm good.
Is
That's
Puddles
embarrassing.
here?
Yeah, Puddle, yeah, you can look at Puddles if you want. Otherwise known as Lord Benedict Artdraft.
No, it's Puddles. I'd probably the Lydian Red isn't here. I'd just be curious at an off chance to see what the mayor she was in cahoots with or had some dealings with, how they're responding.
Ellen Trugust, yeah, sure.
Yes.
You can roll, both of you roll insight checks on your respective targets. With an 18 for Trugust, she seems, I would say, with an 18, she seems nonplussed at sort of the result of this at all. Like you don't get an impression that she has an opinion who made it to the finals. Like she's not necessarily playing favorites in this moment. With an 11, it's Dark Draft. He's pretty easy to read. You look at him and I'll give you an additional perception check because you look at him and he looks frazzled, but I want to see how much you can hear. Okay, you see it. He leans over to one of his companions, and Destin is at the same table, but he's not. That's not who he's talking to. And he sort of looks over at this one of the bodyguards that you've met briefly previous, and says, "That's not fair. Destin is the one who cast the tidal wave. He's the one who did all the work." The impression you get is that Dark Draft thinks that Destin should have been promoted over Heart Crusher. But the crowd quiets down one last time, and Breath sort of just announces, of course, we look forward to seeing you both back here tomorrow morning, but I'll hand it over to Avendir for final words. And you see Avendir steps up and very quickly says, "Everyone, the hour is late and tomorrow's event must be prepared. One more round of drinks for anybody who wants to stick around, but know that the competition is beginning in about 10 hours. So those of you who need to get to your respective inns, I recommend that you carry on to a good night's rest. And we will see you here tomorrow morning." People have lost their energy for clapping at this point. Very light round of applause as people start to stand up and start to disperse. You see Heart Crusher goes in for the final drink, walking up to the bar. She'll figure it out tomorrow, I'm sure. But what would you do?
I'm gonna look at the group and say, "Got 30 seconds. Everybody good? All right, yeah. Run to the bar real quick to see if I can grab one more before it closes."
I'm going to wait for. Sorry, go ahead. Before I leave.
Oh, go ahead.
Do you guys think we should try and get a room at that closer inn tonight? If the next round is in 10 hours, I think it's almost 2 hours each way.
mechanically, I'm not going to punish a long rest for something like this. It's more a matter of like you don't have time to dally.
Fair.
I'll be right back. I'm just gonna say hi. And I'm gonna wait for an opportunity to talk to Jory.
Gerard
Okay.
is going to be watching the entire time.
As I
Uh,
walk away, because I think we all know what's going on here, I will whisper, "See if he knows what Battle of the Verse means,"
I'll
and slap
try.
you on the back and give you guidance.
Great, a D4.
I think so, yeah. Might be a
Cool.
D6. I'll let you know.
It's a D4, yeah.
Like
I
I'll
almost said
try.
I was going to cast Enhance ability and realized I don't have that. I have Enlarge Reduce, and making you
Aesopp is now huge.
huge seems
The
less than
perfect
helpful.
fit. The
Hey,
perfect
hey,
fit for this
Jory, how are you?
conversation.
The two spells are right next to each other and both start with an E.
Drada, give me just a perception check to clue into this conversation, because you said you're sort of trying to eavesdrop.
How dare you?
Oh, I'm fully eavesdropping and fully prepared to cast Pass Without Trace on myself if I need to in order to do so. Just want to make that very clear. Happy to give a perception check.
Not rolling my eyes.
I mean, no, it's you're not gonna get in close, so it's a matter of how do you hear this from afar. Like, yeah, passive without a trace wouldn't work in this particular situation.
Rude.
Make you
Um,
invisible.
The party is plotting to spy on you.
That is fine with me.
Guys, we should leave him be. Had a
Marge,
long day.
for the
No,
record, I'll get another drink. Yeah.
It's very sweet and no. And Drado walks away.
Try to. We'll see how quiet Aesop is, but unless Aesop's whispering, we'll just assume that you can hear most of this. But Aesop, as you're sort of searching for Jory, was the impression I got.
Uh-huh.
You see that the judges, when they sort of like got up to, after Breath had sort of made the announcements, the judges had sort of had just a small powwow between each other. A few hands were shaken, and you see that Guros, the older white tiefling, goes to find Jory. And as you're approaching, you just sort of hear sort of the gruff voice of Guros says, I will be leaving in the morning. You're welcome to stay, but please return to Consonance as soon as you can. And Jory nods and says, and Jory looks past him and looks towards you and says, I think I might stay another night. And then Guros just sort of nods and says, I'll see you back there, and leaves. And I mean, you're not hiding at this point. Jory's just like, hey.
Oh, hey. Hi. Hello.
Hey.
Totally wasn't listening in that conversation.
No, it's fine. The judges, I think they're no longer involved, so I'm free to go.
Oh, they're not going to be here tomorrow?
No, I think, well, I don't quite, I mean, certainly there's some means of declaring the winner. I have not been brought in on that, but.
You don't
Good job.
happen to know. Oh,
Good job out there.
thank you. Thank you. How do you think I did?
Great.
Thought it was quite embarrassing on my end, but you know.
Why? You did a good job.
Well, let's just say I'm glad my parents were here to see that. I felt
so. I
just-
shouldn't tell them all about it if I see them before you.
Well, we probably have different perspectives on what happened, but to me, it just felt like I was just frantic and I didn't really know what to do, and it reminded me of my childhood and what the little glimpses I saw from traveling with my parents, and I guess it just didn't. I tried, and to me, I failed.
I mean, I feel like you're being a little hard on yourself. Like, I don't know magic as well as you, but I mean, you don't look at all scratched up. He sort of indicates towards your torso and says, like, it's not like you actually got in that fight.
That's true. But it was an imprint of me, as they say.
Well,
So
I mean, it seems a little unfair to me that that you didn't actually get to perform authentically. But I'm glad that you made it this far. I mean, clearly, whatever spell they did to do all that got us where we needed to be.
that is true. I just I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. In that moment when everything first started, the first thing that came to mind was there are people here because of me. I'm looking at him, and I couldn't bear the thought of people dying because of a situation I put them in. Like that. That was my initial drive.
Give me a persuasion check, and this is sort of you communicating a specific point
With a D4.
with a D4.
Anything below a 9 is a 10, right? With persuasion and intimidation.
I believe that is the Silver Tongue move. Yes. With that you have you can't roll below a 17. Would you like to use the D4?
Yes. I would. 18.
I mean, so I'm going to give you a choice, because I feel like the Silver Tongue, you can decide how you're framing this. Are you hinting? You said that you looked at him when you sort of expressed the guilt of putting people in danger. Are you trying to infer that you were thinking about him specifically, or
Yes.
are you just okay? Yeah, it's like if you had sort of failed this, he would be like, "Oh, your friends were fine; they did it."
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
so
that is what I am trying to get across.
Gotcha. He just looks at you and kind of like leans in for a side hug. And he's shorter than you, but he leans in for a side hug. He's kind of like under your arm.
Yeah, kind of like
and
wrap my arm around his neck, like.
Yeah, he says, "Hi. Certainly, I hope that you never have to go through that."
I hope you never have to go through that.
Well, none of it happened, so I hope that it continues to not happen.
I agree.
But I mean, if it did, I guess I can count on you.
Well, I do have the healing spells capable.
And
I can.
Your sword and your magic and your personality.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to save as many people as possible, and when I saw that the devil fire little elemental thing was just torching people right next to you, I after everything we've been through, I couldn't bear the thought.
You say it as if you were actually there, but I mean, I appreciate that. He kind of gives like another small squeeze inside of the hug.
I like tying up this time. I'm like, ooh.
Well, it's late, so see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Good night, Jory.
Good night. I'll see you. And he wanders off.
I stare at him as he leaves.
He looks back playfully and gives you a wave as he exits the door.
Can I look around and see that Jarada's actively listening into the conversation or no?
Yeah, Drata, roll stealth, but Path of the Trace is like, it's sort of like you're in an empty room.
No,
this is more, yeah. This is less about your, and go and roll perception, Aesopp, if you don't mind.
I should have saved my D4 for this.
it's sort of a matter of like, yeah. Unfortunately, you see Drada near-ish by. I mean, you can see Drada. It's an empty space. You
Right.
don't catch Drada turning like 5 degrees to move his ear in a slightly different direction.
I imagine I'm like, why is Strata by themselves? And I'm just like
It looks
thinking
like
that
Drada's at the bar, perhaps getting a drink.
I'm thinking that they're like kind of etching in something into the bar, the wooden bar, doing a little prank or something if they're off by themselves.
Here for the idea, I will use that.
During all this, as Aesop had sort of wandered off, Arcana has not left yet and approaches the table with Mouse, Flint, and Clax. Well, no, Clax is at the bar. It's just Mouse and Flint. And sort of like nods politely to Flint and then nods to Mouse and says, in a voice that you haven't heard before, that is sort of it is not magical in any sense, but it is deep, and sort of looks at Mouse and says, I have not seen magic like yours before.
I haven't seen magic like yours either.
I would be curious to learn more about your powers and where you got them from.
I mean, sure. We all draw our power from somewhere.
Exactly. I would be most curious where you do.
The stars, the watchers.
Explain.
From above?
You see him look up as if he can see through the ceiling. Like he's sort of, like you barely can perceive his irises sort of opening as if they were staring at the night sky, or they're not in focus with the roof. And he looks back down at you and says, I'm not familiar with that.
I mean, the stars are what has always been. They see everything under them and aren't phased by it. They don't change their motion. But they do have power. And if you take your time and you study and you're open to it, sometimes even little meaningless people can find ways to channel that into something else. Isn't that what you do? Where do you pull your power from? Channel it from somewhere else.
There's sort of like a softened, thoughtful expression that sort of crosses the face. And he sort of looks down at you and says, Indeed. I will look into it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
He nods and then disappears out of thin air.
That was interesting. Hope I was helpful.
That feels like kind of a big deal. I mean, that dude's a big deal.
Yeah, I didn't get the sense he was particularly social. And
Yeah,
my magic's not strange, though.
I mean, I assume I haven't seen anybody do magic like her previously,
I mean, you have. I mean,
aside from Mouse.
yeah. I mean, roll me an Arcana check. You're not. I mean, I'm going to answer no, but I'm going to give more details as to what that no means. Okay. So yeah, the answer is no. You don't really yourself understand star power, what that means. You know that there are sort of three common sources of power that are sort of known in the world. It's sort of people who manipulate sort of latent energy that is sort of all around you. There's sort of the idea that there's magic everywhere, you just have to know how to harness it. And the people who do that are sort of generally the more studious types, the people who learn formulas to do things to that. There's people who have magic through kind of like a bloodline, through sort of like a curse or something, or like sort of bestowed upon them in some way or fashion. And then there is divine power. And divine power tends to be connected to some god or another. And in this sort of homebrew, the nature of like the elemental gods is that those are very easy connections to make, but when it comes to perhaps like spell schools like illusion or necromancy or this or that, that they tend, those sorts of magics, divine magics, tend to be also ascribed to a god, just sort of like exerting their power in a different way. And so star power, it's like maybe that's divine power, but the fact that Arcana doesn't recognize that is strange, which tells you that it might be something different.
Is like a typical druid that would usually just fall under like the divine power.
Yeah. I don't know that Mouse is like, hey, I'm a druid, but I would say like of primal entities, those would generally be thrown into the realm of the elementals bestowing gifts upon you, or like the elemental gods bestowing gifts upon you.
Yeah, I mean, like I've never seen or heard anybody using magic quite like you do. But I'm sort of surprised that like that guy hasn't. Like dude seems like he's like made of magic.
Yeah, I just never considered that this wasn't. I don't know. You guys don't pay as much attention to the stars as they did back home.
Do the people back home do magic like you do?
Some more than others, but
Oh, maybe it's just a thing this people here haven't figured out.
At this point, just everybody's starting to wrap up their side conversations, and you get the impression that you should start walking as a group if you want to get to bed soon. So you can continue the conversation, but you're sort of like now in walking mode, assuming you want to get to bed in time.
shall we?
Finishing up
Sure.
my second beer because I saw people were still talking, so I grabbed a second one.
Art, I think you're muted.
Ready for a good night's sleep.
Very well. Interrupt me if you want to, but you guys walk to the canopy.
What was the name of tomorrow's event?
It was referred to as the Battle of the Verse. It was the first time you heard it.
As we're walking back, I'll let everyone know that the judges won't be there tomorrow for the last event, which I found really odd.
That's intriguing.
Yeah, the guy that Jory is kind of working under at the moment, he's told him that he's leaving in the morning, kind of just heading home.
Wow. How'd that conversation go?
Between him and his boss, or
Between that and I saw you walking over to chat. How'd that go?
well, yeah, it went good. kind of told him like, oh, like this is how I felt during the battle, and he was like, oh yeah, like I totally get it. So it went well.
You like asked him on like a date or something, or
That didn't particularly get brought up. Um, it wasn't the vibe of the conversation. If he has a thought of anything other than we're friends, it wasn't presented during that conversation. At least in my mind.
At some point, as we make the walk home, Drada goes up over to Flint and she's like, had mad flirty vibes by the end. Just very quietly.
I don't know if those two would know that if they were doing or if they were flirting.
Oh no.
And you find your way to your beds and in your respective rooms. And unless anybody is doing anything in particular as they're winding down for the evening, we... Go ahead, Mouse. You look like you unmuted.
I did. I was gonna say, I know it's late, but I would like to go outside.
Sure, of course.
And I would like to look up the stars and attempt to use my quill form to cast sending.
Okay. Who are you sending to?
My friend Olive. Friend's an interesting choice of words, but Olive.
Yeah, I understand. You, without issue, make the connection.
I will say, Olive, I hope you're not sleeping. Met a man who didn't realize the stars had power? Is that not common knowledge? How's the new boat? It's Mouse.
You immediately get a response. I know. I know who you are. I haven't spoken to anybody outside of the den, so couldn't say. But, well, if there are stars where you are, I hope that others are willing to explore and open themselves up to that mystery. The message closes, she reopens it and sends you a message and says, the boat is ongoing. We couldn't find Fern's notes. The chassis, for lack of a better word, seems well constructed, but we don't know how to make it fly. Her message ends, and you can respond.
That's sad. I think Fern wants to come home. I will try to get them there soon. Good luck. We kind of made it this oblong shape, with the pillars on the side.
Your message gets cut off in the middle of that.
And she'll keep talking for a minute and just kind of spend the minute outside before heading in with her friends.
I was really hoping Mouse was messaging Arcana.
You head back in and find a restful night of sleep. And as folks wake up, that sort of early that morning, or not early. The sun has been up for about an hour or two. I've kind of like glossed over specific times that you need to report in, but only to say, that you have enough time to prepare in the morning, but that you just can't linger or make detours. So if there's anything you'd like to do as you sort of rendezvous with the team in the morning, you could make time for a quick stop at bread if you really hustled, or just eat leftover pastries from the previous days. But what would you like to do?
A couple of you guys can cast Enhance ability, right?
I can, yeah.
Yes.
Trying to figure out what I should prepare for today. I just don't know.
Well, it's a one-on-one, so I don't know if room participation is allowed.
Oh, is this another one? Okay. Well, then.
I mean, it wasn't allowed the first round, and yet it still happened.
That's true. However, the first round was just a solo round. This one is specifically and was detailed a 1v1. So we'll see what that entails.
God, are you gonna have to fight Heart Crusher?
Ooh, yeah, wow. That we just went right there, huh? I hope not.
Yeah, me too. You're done for if so.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like 2 hits and crushed.
Honestly, like, yeah, like, love you, friend, and like, nah, no.
Her
Like if you
her armor's probably well materialized than mine is.
if it's like a debate club kind of thing, you got this, but
Also, if you win, then we can look at her and go, Heart Crusher, more like Heart Crushed, and then walk away, and it'd be cool. Okay, I'm done.
The DM face palms in response.
While just like shoving half stale pastries in her mouth and cornbread. And like star map on the floor. She's making notes. She's trying to make connections between things. And just very hurriedly reaches over and gives Aesopp Gift of Alacrity.
Which
Um,
is
I will click it. It's plus a d8 on initiative. If that's helpful, we will find out. As well as rolling wheel well. And prepping all of her spells. I believe that's wheel again.
Very
oh,
good.
that's an interesting point.
fortunately I can't inspire myself.
Just look at a mirror and try real hard.
I'll does this have to be? I don't think so. I'll touch a. Do you wear a cloak? You wear a cloak, right? Aesopp?
I think you should currently still have the Cloak of Many Fashions, and if you don't, that's what I was going to just give to you.
I was about to say you're currently wearing it because or no, you gave it to me for the outfit. Yep, I'm wearing it.
Yeah, I'll touch. No, I'll touch your armor because you wear armor.
Really?
And transfer and then get rid of for the day my repulsion shield and make your armor mind sharpener. While wearing this armor, whenever you fail a con saving throw to maintain concentration on a spell, you can use your reaction to just succeed.
Very nice.
That is very good.
It's got 4 charges and
Okay.
regains a d4 at dawn.
If fail, immediately save. Cool.
With a reaction.
Yeah, does take your reaction.
4 out of 4. Cool. Thank you. Hopefully it doesn't come to a battle, but you never know.
I tend to imagine that this happens in. You've seen Flint carving runes onto people's weapons. to create these infusions, but to a set of studded leather armor, I imagine that this is sort of like, correct me if I'm wrong, but sounds like similar runes, but probably like an ink stain. Perhaps, because I'm imagining like something that's like Mind Sharpener makes me think it would connect as close to the brain as you could. So it'd probably be like on the back collar of your equipment, like connecting to the brainstem, quote unquote.
Yeah, I maybe
love-
don't tell him that it is going to shock the shit out of him to make him keep the concentration or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I love the ink stain reference too. Alrighty, ready to head out, y'all? This is it. Last round.
Nothing to be concerned about at all as you all head to the Rising Melody. We are going to. Oh well, I'm going to invite you guys. Do we want to take an early break so that we can jump right into this, or how are people feeling?
But either way,
I'm good either way. I got water.
Okay. Just call for a break if you need it. There's no reason we can't interrupt the thing mid-round if we have to.
nope. But rather than calling for a break, I have my headphone on. I'm just going to grab my drink, and I'll be right back, but I'll be listening the whole time.
Very, very good. You all, as I retrieve my notes, you all arrive at the Rising Melody. People have begun to take their seats. What you see before you is, as you're sort of walking in the door, the layout of the room has changed overnight. You expect that Avendir had people working throughout the night to set things up, and you see that a number of the sort of middle tables have been removed from the space, and there's been 2 platforms that have been erected that are sort of sitting on circular carpets that have different colors. And between the 2 platforms, there is a small stone podium that's been brought out. That seems to be like a central point, a space that will divide the two stages. You are all sat at your normal table on the left side of the map that you've seen before, and you see, as people are sort of coming in, they're well. You let me know, sort of as you sit down, arriving a little bit before everybody else, if there's anything in particular you're looking out for.
I am just waiting until the last minute before things seem like they're going to start, or before Aesopp has to split off to cast Enhance ability Eagle Splendor.
I want to gauge. Oh, go ahead.
Is that the charisma one?
It is
okay.
Indeed.
Okay. Go ahead.
I would like to gauge the stage, just to see if I can figure out what we're freaking doing before it starts. If I can get an idea.
Give me an intelligence check.
Cool. Oh, it was a 20.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been hard for me to rule how to give you information because there isn't like a plaque that has the rules or anything.
Right.
But the impression you get is that the stage is set up and that it's done being set up. You do notice, even with the 3, that Heart Crusher has been sat on the other side of the Rising Melody. And yeah, that's about all you can get at this moment.
I go up to them, be like, "Hey, good morning. How are you?"
She has a morning beer in her hand.
Of course.
And she says, "Doing great. We're gonna have fun, right?"
Yeah. I always get so worried not knowing what these rounds will entail, especially after that last one.
You'll be fine. I'll be fine too. Just have fun. It's just a contest.
You're right. You're right. I just need to get a little loose, you know? Just
I'll loosen you up
loosen.
here in a little bit. So
Oh God. Oh. Okay.
no, we'll be fine. Just relax. And you know, if you beat me, we're good. If I beat you, hopefully we're still good.
We're good.
She gives you her customary heavy clap on the back. That's sort
Almost
of-
fall over again.
Yeah. So it's not she knows her own strength, but she does it to throw people off, perhaps. And
Mm-hmm. And she definitely throws me off every time. I'm like, okay, see you soon. I walk back to the group, just kind of, just every round so far, just constantly lost in thought of what this new round's gonna be.
anybody else observing, doing anything?
I got my eye looking for a lovely red dress or the woman who exists within it. Any other people of
Yep.
note?
Roll me perception.
I would also like. Sorry,
Oh, go ahead if you want to do that as well. I'm giving everybody
Well,
one thing.
I was gonna look for minotaurs, or mostly just minotaurs.
Okay, go ahead. Pretty confident no minotaurs, unfortunately. The impression that you're getting, I mean, well, Jory did tell Aesopp, you didn't necessarily get this, Mouse, but Jory did tell Aesopp that that his parents were quote unquote on assignment, and so Aesopp, in your head, if you were happening to look out for them, you kind of just know that they're busy. So
They're busy, strangely busy.
yeah.
Yeah.
But Mouse, being a good friend, keeping an eye out. Unfortunately, you're not able to see anything. 12, Drada. We've resumed a more crowded state of the Rising Melody, and with a 12, you're not able to see anything. I'm going to let. I don't know if Sean is here. I want to let Clax roll as well, knowing that he would be keeping an eye out for her. Yeah.
Nope.
No luck. I will say, and it's just a sort of friendly DM reminder, is that I don't know if Clax communicated this or not, but Clax knows that while she has the moniker Mistress in Red, that she was not wearing red the night that she appeared. So, but even with that knowledge and a 12 and a 6, you're still not really able to pinpoint her.
I think Flint would be watching the crowd, not necessarily for any one person, but yeah, just the kind of big cast of characters that we've been interested in, and trying to keep track of where any of them might be in the room.
Roll perception check for something else. Okay. With a 19, this is more of something you overheard, because your table is pretty close-ish to the front. Most of the guests, not you, were asked which side they wanted to sit on as they came in, sort of indicating you also kind of notice that unlike other things that seem to have perhaps been ticketed, you're not quite sure how people got in, that there's sort of like a line out the door for this one of faces of various kinds, some that you recognize, some that you don't. And the impression that you're getting is that they're filling up the house on both sides until both sides are full, and that people are choosing which side they want to support when they come in. And with the 21, I will give you some heads up on some noteworthy faces that are on each side. You do see sitting behind the allies table, we'll say, or the allies side, you do see Aetiel Cromvale and her assistant sitting behind you all. And you see Gris as well, sort of sitting at a table a little bit in the back. Those are, and you see Jory in the stands. They still have the stands set up, the kind of like bleachers set up on the bottom. Those are the only noteworthy faces you see on your side. On the opposing side, You see Ellen Trugust, Bali Brightbeard, the Ferellia parents, Dark Draft, Orin, Destin. All of them are sitting on Heartcrusher's side at the moment.
Okay.
You have a moment to discuss that with your
Yeah.
party if you'd like, but
I will convey that to the group.
and I should say Avendir is sort of he's behind the bar, sort of like getting final preparations in order. He is not on any particular side at the moment.
So do you think it's because Aesopp, you said last night there's no judges, right? And I'm trying to be quiet and discreet to just our group.
Right.
But you said there's no judges today.
No.
And they're splitting it based on where people want to sit.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this is going to be crowd participation, such as, which side's louder? Because last time I was loud, I got you in a bunch. Well, I screwed up your performance. But if I can be loud, you just let me know, and I'll be loud.
I think based on I'm assuming Flint already shared everything with us. I think this is more crowd participation. If they're splitting up people specifically and they can choose which side to go on, I feel as though this is more crowd participation than before.
You
Definitely a
just give me-
food fight. Definitely a food fight.
But why would we waste all that good food?
I mean, you can catch it with your mouth.
Oh yeah, but man, I do have a pretty
One
big
kind
job.
of fight that Clax isn't game for. A food fight.
Why would you waste all that good food? It's like dumping beer over somebody as an insult. I've never understood it.
Or maybe it's a drinking contest.
Oh, I'm in. But no, you give the signal. I'll be loud.
Okay, what signal should I give? A thumbs up?
Whatever works.
Okay.
People are beginning to settle into their seats, and you see Avendir sort of taking a position in front of that central podium that is sort of standing between the two stages. And as the room sort of starts to quiet down, he gives the universal signal for shut up by raising his arms, as everybody seems to do, and says, "Welcome everybody to the Battle of the Verse, the match of the finalists in this year's Tournament of Tales." Crowd erupts in an excited morning explosion of energy. Sort of without even having to roll an insight check, you get the impression that while the last sort of meetings here in this space were, I mentioned that there was a lot of business being done. This is the competition where like the fans are showing up. The people who are willing to come to day 3 are invested in this, or they didn't get to see day 1 and day 2, and they're just excited to be here. Avendir quiets everybody and says, "You all know our contestants already, but I would like to go ahead and introduce," and this sort of mouse is your cue to perhaps release your spell as you see that Aesopp is about to be introduced to the stage.
It looks like a tiny, like, glitter bomb of stardust behind him.
Oh, cute. Eagles, you said advantage on charisma?
Yes,
What did you say?
charisma abilities, I believe.
Yes.
Cool beans.
Introducing Aesopp Tiern. DM mistake. I'm still getting used to it. Aesopp Tiern. And he is sort of signaling to the platform that is sort of in front of you.
Is it a platform big enough for a Minotaur?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
You're fine. Heartcrusher also kind of like competes with you in size, so.
Oh, that's true. That is very true. All right.
But you take the cue and step onto the stage, and there's sort of like a round of applause erupting around you. He waits for the crowd to pause and says, "And of course, introducing Heart Crusher. Similar round of applause. She steps onto her stage and then says, one more final introduction to make. I know that many of you are out there are a big fan, but we will introduce today's judge for the competition, Aurelia Cloudstone. And you see she sort of appears from like she was sort of in the bleachers. You didn't really get to see her very closely, but she sort of like walks up and takes center stage at this point, not at the piano, but at the kind of like standing next to Avendir. Avendir speaks up and says, today's final competition is the Battle of the Verse. Win the crowd, and you will win the competition. You will each take turns in a sort of back and forth verbal conflict, and we will see who comes out the victor. And we're going to go ahead and go to break.
Oh no.
And we'll get back to this very soon. So, I would like to explain what is about to occur. Please ask questions. This is not meant to be too confusing, but the way that the Battle of the Verse will go out is that each team, which is going to be the competitor and its crowd, will take a turn as part of a round. There's going to be a maximum of 10 rounds. The goal is to move this puck here in the middle closer to your side of the board. So if you get one crowd favor, it moves closer to the board. If your opponent gets a crowd favor, it moves closer to their side of the board. You win by moving it all the way over here to your victory spot, and you lose by having it move all the way over here to the enemy's victory spot. This is, in the rules that you've seen, is referred to as crowd favor. 1 point of crowd favor is 1 movement closer to victory. So it has this like tug of war element of like constantly trying to do more than your opponent is, if that makes sense. When it is your turn, you will have the crowd has abilities that they can take, which the crowd will act before the contender. And these abilities will do a variety of things, which you have on your sheet. When it refers to an armor class, this is the armor class of the contender's performance, not the actual armor they're wearing, which is sort of signified up here. This is their plus to hit, Aesopp's plus to hit, and Aesopp's armor class. This is the crowd's plus to hit, and the crowd's damage, which is used to break concentration on spells and performances. So if the crowd is looking to to do something that would influence a performance or concentration check, they would roll this plus, and if they hit, they will deal this amount of damage, which will determine the DC of the concentration check. Does this all track with people so far?
So far, so good.
Okay.
Yes.
So you have a variety of abilities at your disposal. If you have questions about them as we roll through, we'll go ahead and do that. There's going to be a maximum of 10 rounds, at which point wherever the puck is closest to, that person will be declared the victor. So if it's like here by the end of 10 rounds, then Aesopp is victorious, for example. If it's in the middle, at the end of 10 rounds, we'll have an extension, which is mentioned in the rules as well. First things first, if Aesopp and I will roll for Heart Crusher could roll initiative just to see which of the 2 contenders gets to go first.
I get a +8 to mine.
D8, right?
Yes.
D8.
Yes, D8.
Manifesting a +8.
Well, you don't even have to roll that plus D8 because Heart Crusher rolled like trash. But yes, you have a joyous 17 initiative to her 6. So, we are going to, I screwed up the music, bring it back. We are beginning the first round of this Battle of the Verse. It is the crowd who acts first. I kind of just randomly determined the order, which is just the order that you're listed in the document. Oh wait, that's in Aesopp's document. So I'll copy that over soon, but first person to choose what the crowd does is Mouse.
So am I choosing something that Mouse is doing, or that the crowd as a whole is doing?
How you choose to roleplay these is up to you. You are able to make decisions on the behalf of the crowd if you'd like. Except for the first ability you see here, which is sort of using your character sheet, which is something that is on your character sheet. So, for example, if Klax didn't want to get involved, Klax could just not use that first ability.
I am the wrong one to go first. I will build hype.
Okay.
persuade the crowd to vote for Aesopp.
Okay, go ahead and roll a persuasion check for me using Mouse's stuff. Okay, 16. Go ahead and tell me how it is that you're accomplishing this.
I would probably kind of look to Clax for assistance here, but I'll just start like a slow clap, Aesopp, Aesopp, and just like try and get people around us involved in a chant.
Okay. With a 16, you increase your crowd hype by +1 and your crowd damage by 1d6. And as a reminder, so once it comes to the crowds turning in, you cannot build hype again until the third round because nobody can do no whether it's the crowd or the competitor can do the same action twice in a row. Aesopp, it's your turn.
Well, with the hype of my friends and random people behind me, I will just kind of look at Heart Crusher. I'm expecting there's probably a smile on her face, just like getting ready for the show to start. And I'm going to look over to her and be like, Heart Crusher, I'm not really surprised that you came here by yourself. You probably ate all your friends on the way over here.
Okay. Are you going
For insult.
insult? Okay. Roll a d20 +3. This is based on your +3 up here, to be clear.
Okay, so I'm going to roll d20 and then we'll add 3 to it.
Yes.
Cool. Ooh,
Okay.
20.
Nice.
You get some like ooh from the crowd as they seem to accept this insult, and Heart Crusher just sort of like shrugs it off like no big deal. But you deal 2 crowd favor damage to her.
Oh, wouldn't it be the other way?
Yep, the other way. Sorry.
Yeah.
DM question.
Sure.
And this is sort of also a mouse perception of how magic works in this space. Does it seem like Aesopp's performance bonus or is somehow being helped by enhanceability at this point?
Unless there is a specific roll that Aesopp makes that is a charisma roll, then no. This is sort of because like that spell could totally like just win somebody a competition very easily.
Right.
So it's like if Aesopp uses something to take advantage of it, yes, but the standard insult roll, no.
Got
What
it.
you've seen so
That
far.
is helpful. Thank you.
I'm gonna go with the same statement that you just made, DM, about my use of silvery barbs.
Well, here's the thing: is like you'll see in your abilities that you have to use a specific ability to gain a reaction.
Mm.
You cannot just choose to use a reaction in this combat, which goes for
I see.
your unfortunately goes for the Artificer Infusion as well.
Mm.
So yeah, you have to invest in getting reactions.
Good to know.
But it is the crowd's turn. Oh, go ahead.
I'm assuming this is true, but if you invest in getting a reaction, I assume that is just for the round. You don't like get to then
Yeah,
keep the
it's until the start of your next turn. Yeah. The crowd is sorry, I specifically didn't prepare for this because I think that Heart Crusher didn't prepare for this, so I as a DM am doing this live as well. I am going to say that from the back of the room, you all hear your good friend Puddles shouts out in response. You couldn't have won unless your friends helped you.
Ooh.
in
Ugh.
the last round. And Puddles is going to go for a jeer maneuver. And with a 14, there's sort of like murmurs of acceptance among the crowd as Puddles' sort of insult seems to hit back, and you find that the crowd regains one favor from Puddles' intervention. On Heartcrusher's turn, she seems she seems pleased with that result, but what she does, you see sort of the maul that is sort of always strapped to her back. She pulls it out and sort of sets it down stave first on the ground, and then sort of like with the heavy metal part on the top, and she starts thumping on it like it's a drum, and she's going to begin her musical performance. So she is going to make a performance check. Oh, not very good. She is not able to find her rhythm in this maneuver and does not gain anything from it. So we will enter the second round of this battle, and the ally to act next is going to be Flint.
Oh, jeez.
Just so you guys know, the order is Mouse, Flint, Clax, Drada.
Damage. What would Flint do? I think Flint would probably... Who's after me? Clax, you said?
Yes.
Yeah. Flint would probably jeer based on that. And yell, I don't know, something about her bald head.
Well, what do you yell? I want to be clear. I, as a DM, have the ability to adjudicate advantage and disadvantage at my discretion.
Oh my gosh. Is that a light or your bald head? I don't know.
Is that what you say?
Sure.
Roll with disadvantage.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's like such an empty insult.
Yeah. What am I rolling for this though? I'm doing a
Just
D20.
a D20 plus 3 at disadvantage.
Two high numbers right here.
I don't know the. Oh, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, don't even bother.
Oof.
You know, you get a just sort of like from the other side of the crowd. Some person shouts in Flint's direction, "She's still brighter than you."
Fair.
But Aesopp, it's your turn.
I'm gonna casually look down and applaud at Flint, and then be like, "Oh my god, what is that?" And then cast Major Image to make the goofiest looking purple worm you've ever seen, and be like, "Oh my god, Heartcrusher, you should kill it. Is that the one that you killed before you came here? Is that the one you were talking about?" And that's my action, because I casted an action.
Yeah, so I'm trying to determine. So anytime you use sort of like a standard action thing, it's up to me as the DM to decide how that affects the combat.
As you think, it's just going to be like a purple worm coming out of the ground with its head with the goofiest eyes going in different directions.
So your intention is to minimize her success.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and give me. Okay, one more question. Is this designed to be a joke or an insult?
Oh, I had it in my head to be an insult.
Okay.
So I know she can take it.
I'm going to. I want to make this a Is silver? I'm not metagaming, but your silver tongue ability, is that all charisma checks?
No, just persuasion and intimidation.
Okay. Because again, I'm not metagaming this, but I was putting it in the deception realm because she had the Song of Truth up. People know how strong this worm was. But give me a deception check with disadvantage, and this will count as another insult roll functionally, like in its effect.
All right. Not good at these guys. Okay.
With
Not too
disadvantage.
All right, not bad, not bad,
Not bad. Not bad.
Okay. It was sort of flavored as an insult, but it was taken as a joke in a successful way. You've gained sort of a success from the audience on that. I'm not going to give you both. I'm not going to give you the full 2 crowd favor for it, because the DC for in my mind, the DC for like a full insult would have been a 20, but I will give you 1 crowd favor for that.
Well, I'll take it. That's more my direction.
Okay.
Do I get a reaction from that, or did you put it under the insult action?
No. Well, so because you use a standard action, you have to, when you use that ability, you choose either standard action or bonus plus reaction.
Oh, I read that wrong. You
Yeah.
know what? You're right.
So your
my
turn
bad.
is done. You do still, just so you know, you do still have the. You're maintaining concentration on it, should you need to use it again, but it will still be like using an action to use the spell. But it's the crowd's turn, and they are going to. There are people in the crowd who like that joke didn't land with, and they're just gonna say, "You know she's better than that. Stop fucking around." And they are going to roll to interrupt your spell. This is against your AC. Nope, not at all. They do not seem to. They do not seem to really do much with that at all.
It's bobbing its head there.
Yeah,
Just
the
chilling.
other people in the crowd who liked the joke are just like, just let him have it. And it is going to be Heart Crusher's turn. Oops. And she is going to. She kind of smiles at you and just says, "Just wait and see." And she's going to use her momentum roll. Oh, that's bad for her.
Yeah.
Functionally wasting her turn, and some of you don't know what the momentum is, but I will just tell you that was a bad roll for her. And it is the crowd's turn for Aesopp, and this is going to be Clax.
So for the interrupt, like I know she had started her performance, but then the performance had stopped with whatever her momentum was she was doing. So would interrupting?
The impression you get is that she's getting no value from her performance at the moment, so there'd be no point.
Then I guess I think I want to do, just in case. I think we'll do attempt to cheer. So I will turn towards the crowd and start waving my hands and just pretty much say, and again, this is where it's kind of hard between build hype and cheer, but think about it. This is the person who rushed around and saved all these lives, helped everybody, and start just pointing at people, helped you up, helped you out. Point out to LTL, think about what he did for you. Come on, let's make some noise.
There you go.
And attempting to cheer was
Yes.
where I was going.
You don't have to roll for that.
Okay.
I am not going to reveal quite what it does at the moment, but Aesopp, it is your turn.
Playing off that perfectly, I think I'm gonna look at Heart Crusher. I'm like, being a hero is not only about destroying things; it's also about helping people too. And I'm gonna try to boast.
Okay. Go ahead and, because of the cheer, go ahead and roll that with advantage. D20 plus 3.
D20 plus 3. Nope, that's a D12. Oh no, that's a D12. Let me just go to that. There we go. Cool beans. Okay. Advantage, you said?
Yes,
right?
with advantage, yes.
Cool. Now, just roll that again.
Oh, that was a
Ooh.
15.
Uh,
So 10 total.
unfortunately, her AC in this instance is an 11.
Yeah,
and
she doesn't care.
she gives you it kind of glances over her, and she's like, "I know I'm strong." And on her turn, you from a sourceless direction feel lethargic. I'll let you know what that does at some point. That is the crowd's turn.
Oh.
And on Heart Crusher's turn, she is going to... I think she's going to try to... She's going to sort of like play off of your past failure and try again with a beginning of musical performance. She kind of needs the AC. Even though she's not necessarily the best at this. Oh my god. She, you know what? She realizes that the, drumming on a maul is just not doing the trick, and she tosses it to the ground. She's done with this. And that ends her turn. So we are in round 4, out of 10, but it could be extended. And it is. Sorry, I'm losing track. Yep, Drada's turn.
Alrighty. I think in a very on-brand Drada fashion, I think we're gonna go for a nice jeer. I wrote up a chant that Drada will be screaming at the top of his lungs, which is he's screaming, "I will not scream because my housemates are home. Heart Crusher, get tougher. No one cares about your worm. Heart Crusher, get crushed. Go get lost, go home. Your lesson learned."
Ooh,
Oh,
nice.
shit. I will give you an additional... I want to make this a standard roll, so a d20 plus 1. But I'm going to... Well, I'm going to increase that to a plus 4. Because I like what you did as a DM.
Spent a lot of time looking up rhymes for the word worm. It was very exciting. D20.
There you go. There are no crits. I just want to. I should have typed that up in the rule somewhere, because the game, you only need so many points to win. But it is successful. It is very successful.
Would you like a D4?
No, you're fine. You start. It's so successful that you start to see people in the enemy crowd start to join along.
Is there anyone specifically with names that start to join along?
You could... No, you... If you give me something for it, I'll let you roll to perceive that.
Okay, no, I was gonna play off what I'm gonna do, but it's okay. So hearing, going off of the beat of Gerada's chant, just finding the word, jeez, I am gonna do a musical performance to back that up with my little flute that I have not played a lot of.
Okay. As you pull out the flute, your lethargy is going to give you a negative 1d8 to your roll. It's a sort of a reverse inspiration that has been put on you.
Cool. So I roll performance skill.
Yes, performance, yes. And this would be at advantage because of it is a charisma-based check from Mouse. And if
All right, so...
And then subtract a d8 if you don't mind.
Here's somewhere. 16.
Okay. Go ahead and explain to me what this sort of becomes.
So I'm gonna start with tapping my foot, like going off the beat of everyone chanting at the same time, and then as I like build up the performance on my flute, you start seeing like little ink splatters coming out of the flute a little bit, as that is kind of what my magic entails, and some of the ink splatters just kind of like give off the goofy faces, like tongue, like two eyes and a tongue stick out at Heart Crusher, and just kind of like try to mock her a little bit with my musical performance.
Okay. And with a 16, you are able to increase your performance by 1 up to a +4, and your AC up from a 13 to a 14. Things
take
are,
it.
Yeah, things are not looking good for the opponents. I will... sorry, I'm thinking in my brain. The crowd is... you sort of hear from Bali Brightbeard, who sort of shouts from the back, sort of like masked through all the sound of the music and whatnot, but nonetheless able to pierce through. You hear... couldn't save everybody, isn't that right?
The bitter man.
You know, but it works.
Worth saving.
This sounds mean. I'm giving myself advantage because he's the mayor of Horizon. He has a command over these people, and he has allies in the crowd. This is a jeer maneuver, just to be clear. I'm not going to roll with the advantage because he is able to succeed on this one, so he is going to
Sure is.
regain some of the crowd's favor as part of this maneuver. On Heart Crusher's turn, I forget to change the turn order. She's going to try to build off of that momentum, and says, "Couldn't save everybody, especially if he was by himself."
Oh.
She started throwing shade onto the left stars, sort of as a result. You don't have to insight to know that she's being a little playful, but that she is playing to the crowd. But she is rolling very poorly, and there's sort of like murmurs in the crowd as this insult fails, that people sort of shoot back and say, like Brett said, friends are power in and of itself. And she's going to lose the crowd favor from that. As we move on to, I think we're back to Mouse in the good old turn order.
Yeah. So I'm gonna lean over and just whisper to Clax, "I wonder if she'll be so effective if they can't see her." And I'm gonna cast Fog Cloud.
Okay. Can you put that in chat for me?
Yes. Do you want me to drop
Just-
the template?
Sure.
How do I? Can I info? There we go.
So, from this sort of like, the way that the situation has been narrated so far, it's just like two sides of people yelling at each other. But I like to think there's like more pizzazz to this like performance, that there's actually like applause and like give and take and like momentum as part of this. And all of a sudden, a fog cloud rolls in in the middle of people responding to like Heart Crusher's failed joke. And where are you centering it? Just to sort of like, just so I can like on Heart Crusher herself.
I briefly considered upcasting and getting her entire side of the floor, but yes, I'm just centering it on Heart Crusher, trying to make it hard for her to visually kind of egg on the crowd or make it harder for her to make her points.
Okay. I will adjudicate that if it is used, like, this is a spell that requires follow-up. Like, at the moment, you've generated confusion, but nobody knows how to react to it unless it's used creatively. Like unless somebody builds off of it, if that makes sense. Because it's sort of like now nobody can see anything. So a fog cloud rolls in, and Aesopp, you sort of sense this. I don't know if you sense it as an opportunity or how you read it, but you know that it's happening, and you know that it's not obscuring you. How would you build off of that?
God, I guess as the actual player, me, I only know insults. Guess just says a lot about who I am. I'm like, okay, like, wow, it's pretty funny that even though you can't see her, you can still know where she is because how loud she is. I try.
Yeah. Similar to Flint's joke about her bald head, this is going to be a disadvantage, and depending on the roll, I might change the rules of it a little bit. So if you could roll d20 plus 4, still plus 4, with disadvantage.
I'll roll 2 and we'll take the higher. Or lower. Oh.
If you add them together, it's a 20, but unfortunately you can't add them together because one of them's a 19.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
I did not realize
No,
that's what would happen. My apologies.
No, it's totally fine. The confusion in the crowd about this fog cloud, it doesn't play off very well, and you also get the sense that like there's somebody who's like, what? Sort of implying that they can't hear you.
I'm like, oh shit.
I'm only going to give you the -1 for that. I'm not going to give you a -2, even though I feel like I could. And we will move on to her turn, or her crowd's turn. You need to take. Are you good?
No, yeah, I accidentally logged out of the journal.
Oh, it's all good. I would like. I'm gonna roll a thing. Mouse, what's your AC? Your actual armor class?
I don't understand the question.
Like with the armor you're wearing, what is your AC?
14?
Okay. There is it doesn't cause actual damage. But you sense that it tried to. As you start to receive a minor headache that subsides quickly, and you feel as if a outside source was trying to encroach on your mind in a potentially harmful way. I will choose to let you do what you want with that information. I'll also remind you, Fog Cloud does break concentration on your other spell.
Yes. I meant to announce that.
Yeah, no problem. But the crowd, as best as anybody except Mouse can tell, they haven't really done anything this round. And so on Heart Crusher's turn, she's going to sort of look at you and say, I understand you're not witty, but do you really have to go that low to try to win this? And she is going to go for...
Another insult.
No, she did insult last time, so this is actually
A boast.
Oh yeah, for some reason boast isn't on her sheet, but it's... Oh wait, no, this is the enemy crowd. Sorry, I have the wrong thing open. Yeah, she can't insult twice in a row, so what she's sort of doing is she's boasting her ability to be more witty, less so insulting you. Sorry, I'm failing at opening things. All right, let's go. And with that, she is able to take a little bit of ground back. You still feel like the crowd is in your favor, but that it's not as advantageous as it was before. And we're going to move on to Flint's turn.
Oh boy. I guess feeling like he's got to redeem himself a little bit, Flint will try to jeer again. I can do that, right? Mouse didn't jeer. And just like try and blurt out like loudly, do you think Aesopp needs to use Charm Person or Hold Monster?
Jesus.
It's good.
It's
good.
I'm not going to give you advantage, but I'm going to give you an additional +2, just because like not everybody in the crowd knows what that means. but those that do. So that would be a +3.
D20 +3.
That's enough. Her
Really?
AC is pretty low at the moment, and you get a couple reactions from the crowd. And Aesopp, it's your turn.
Okay. I am going to oof. I think it's time for me to prepare myself to blow away the competition and this fog, and I'm going to steel myself up for this round until the next.
Okay. We will remind me if I forget about that.
You're good.
We will move on. This is the second half of the 6th round. We're past the halfway point of this fight. The opposing crowd is going to try to counter the cheering of Aesopp's cheering section. They are going to attempt to build hype. This is the persuasion check. I'm going to say. I want to say it's probably just one of the randos that is building hype. I don't think, as I'm going around and deciding who's acting, I think a lot of the named people have already had their say. So we are going to do a straight old persuasion from a commoner. And it's just whatever they come up with. It's sort of like, it's just sort of plain. It's like, Heart Crusher, crush those hearts. It's just like it doesn't.
I think
it
that's
doesn't.
great.
It has no rhythm. The crowd is not able to find its rhythm. And on Heart Crusher's turn, she is. She is going to go back into insult territory. And, she did insult, boast, insult. And she's going to say, it's hard to be creative as a player, as a DM, it's hard to be creative. She's gonna say, "This fog doesn't matter. I could beat you with my eyes closed."
Ooh, wow.
But she, I mean, her performance bonus is not that high, and so things are getting pretty rough for her, despite everything. So we're gonna see how this goes. 13
So
is
close.
not enough. But it.
Oh, it's with disadvantage as well.
Oh right. Okay. That
Yeah.
matters because it. That matters because I have like sort of insult rules that are not specific to you. That sort of determine how much she has to fail by, and she failed miserably. So, she is going to lose that favor after all. We're going to go to the next crowd turn, which is Klax.
All right, Jir was used last time. She's not really doing anything that I can interrupt. Not that I can see her anyway. I can try and give him advantage, but I think I'm probably going to just build some hype at this point. I'm going to turn back to the crowd and kind of again stand there and say, "We can't see her. Her jokes aren't landing. I mean, is that really someone you want to cheer for? You want to cheer for this guy standing right here, right on this table. Can I get it up for Aesopp? Can I get it up for Aesopp? Woo! Get everybody pumped and try and build some hype." So now that roughly I'd have to make a charisma check, which...
Yeah, I would call this a persuasion, not deception, because just of the nature of it.
Okay. And it is mine, right? Correct?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it's still a straight roll.
I mean,
That might...
yeah.
That should do it, I think, right?
That does do it.
All right.
With a 15, you are able to bring your crowd hype up to a +2 and a 4d6 damage should you need to interrupt anything.
All right.
Aesopp, it is your turn.
Okay, I'm gonna, even though I can't see her crusher, I
At
could probably.
the start
Oh,
of Aesopp's
yes.
turn, I did message you. I'm going to drop Fog Cloud.
Yeah, sorry, I just saw that. So fog, yeah, mouse. It's a sort of free action to drop concentration on something. So mouse drops concentration as your turn begins, Aesopp.
Okay, that might have changed things. Hold on, let me think about it.
I thought what you said was setting me up to drop.
That's what I thought too.
No. I was gonna play off it. No, we're fine. We're good. Okay. So I'm going to, based on what she said earlier, I'm gonna assume that she thinks that I cast the fog cloud because she made that insult towards me. And so I was like, you know what, Heart Crusher, friend to friend, I just think you really needed that help with the fog cloud being gone to really kind of just like boost your ego a little bit. And since you don't have magic, I thought as a generous offer to you, I could do that for you.
Sorry, which ability are you using?
Boast, because she doesn't have magic and I do.
Okay. Go ahead and roll that. I'm not going to offer anything. What?
Nothing.
No,
Bad joke.
I'm not.
Bad
I'm not. Yeah. Just a straight roll +4.
Yes.
There you go. As Aesopp is teetering towards victory, with just 1 point that you need to get in order to claim it, we will move to the crowd's turn. What did the crowd use last? Oh, I'm trying to
Jeer.
remember. They used Jeer. That's
Yep.
right. That's sad because they probably need that right now. What they are going to do is you start to kind of just hear like a cacophony of like boos. The sort of like people who not a true cacophony. You feel like you're winning the crowd over pretty well right now, but there's like a focused group of people who are just sort of trying to interrupt your musical performance. They're trying to like throw you off of your rhythm with their interrupt check. And they just do not have the dice right now, but also they do not have the support of the crowd. And you find that these people are very quickly being quieted as part of this. And Heart Crusher on her turn she kind of takes a deep breath and says, and just sort of mutters to herself, but does say it out loud enough for people to hear. I know I'm worth it. And she'll steal herself. And it's going to be Drada's turn to go next.
Sure is. I think Drada gets to their feet and does the whole, like, we will rock you, like, stomp, stomp, clap, but, like, a little slower. Is just going to repeat over and over again, like he's been saying the whole tournament, you got this, you got this, you got this, you got this, and just getting louder and louder and faster in a cheer.
Okay. Drada at your back with Heart Crusher stealing herself for your next move, Aesopp. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna look at her with the chant and the drum beat behind me to be like, I think you can take this as an opportunity to learn that friends are truly something great to have in this world.
What ability is that?
Boast. I was trying to use both
last time.
Oh no, I can't use it again.
Yeah.
Okay. Shoot. Oh, it does say that there. LOL. Okay. Ooh, sorry. This changes everything. I have to read a spell. Oh god.
Oh god.
Oh, does the spell get you to go out? Because you just need 1 point.
I know, but I don't have an insult. I can't think of an insult right
What?
now.
Well, yeah, Sean, you don't know the abilities.
Oh, okay.
So anything that's character sheet based is sort of up to me to adjudicate, though. So it's like a spell.
Gotcha.
Yeah, a spell would be depends on how it's used. You know.
Gotcha.
So I'm gonna try to play with her mind a little bit as like the momentum's building on my side, just to like cause her to choke at the end. I'm going to cast Disguise Self on myself, and I'll put it in chat. And I'm going to, and this is joking manner, not really an insult manner. I'm going to turn myself into her, and I'm going to pretend to be choking, like actually like. And I'm like, you don't have a lot of time left, and I'm just like pretending to be her, like choking and like failing.
Okay. I don't see that as something that could win you the round, but what I will do is let you roll your +4 performance, or sorry, just your d20 +4, and if you get a DC, well, yeah, and you have this you have advantage because of Drada, but you have disadvantage because of the steal yourself, so it just cancels out. So this is a d20 +4. I'm going to say you need to beat a 15 to get her to lose her turn. The crowd would still get their turn, but
Right.
Sort of like, are you gonna make her falter?
Right. Okay, that didn't even roll, but 1.
Yeah.
It's just how the dice are.
Yeah, she brushes it off, although you see a reaction in the crowd of like, oh, that was creative, you know. But nonetheless, on her turn in the crowd, and I should point out that this is the end of round 8 that we're on. The crowd, who really needs to gain favor to really recover from this at all. You'll see Benedict Dark Draft rolls around and says, "More petty insults. Aesopp can't even be himself in front of everybody." And he's going to go for a jeer. You know, it is what it's what he has at his disposal. And it completely flops. And as Heart Crusher looks towards you to regain any ground at all, I really need to write down what she's doing. She did a boast last time, I recall. She did steal herself. Yeah. So what she's going to do is she's going to attempt an insult in an attempt to regain a little bit of ground, and says, "I don't need magic like yours to show my strength." And we'll see how that goes. I have to say, her dice have not been good. I know that she has low pluses, but this has been a story.
Your dice all the way around, hers and her crowd.
She, similar to the. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't write this down, but it was the intent. You can't insult yourself into a loss. Similar to the crowd has an ability that can't be a win. So, because I want Aesopp. If Aesopp's going to win, Aesopp's going to have the final word. Was sort of the
I was about to say I think I have something good.
So she sort of, her insult is not well received, but it does not push her over the edge of victory, because that would be a weird place to end. So we're going to continue the top of round 9 with we have Mouse back at it.
Strata, you cheered, right?
Sure did.
We can't jeer.
You can jeer. Well, sorry. Yeah, you can't jeer because it wouldn't work.
So I think I'll build hype. And to do so, I will just start like pounding on the table, just like 3 pounds in a row. Just I don't even know. I wasn't prepared. You can do this. Let's go, Aesopp. And just more cheering is really it.
Okay. No problem at all. If you want to roll 1d20 plus... Or sorry, no. This is a persuasion check. There you go. We'll see if it matters, but should it come to it, you have built up both the crowd's hype to a +3, as well as 5d6 damage, should it ever be needed.
Okay.
And it is Aesopp's turn. With,
So I'm gonna...
1 point to go.
I'm looking at her crusher. I'm like, after this performance, I think we all got your name wrong, as the only thing you're crushing is your IQ straight into the floor.
So you're going for an insult.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and... I'm still going to make it a straight roll.
That's fine.
Go ahead and roll a d20 plus 4.
D20 plus 4.
And as the sort of crowd goes from just sort of like there's a point where the sound of the hype that's been built from your crowd has sort of increased to a volume that resonates with your musical performance, which you're doing at the same time as you're sort of maintaining all this. There's a point where the crowd, the opposing crowd, and those who are still on it, that their voices are sort of just being drowned out. Nothing that is said, even from the loudest voice in the room, Mr. Dark Draft, can even get through. And you just hear, in response to your most recent insult, that there's just sort of like playful laughter in the room of like oh, that's like he sure told her, and eventually it is Aurelia, who has been sort of standing in the middle across from Avendir this whole time. She sort of raises her left hand towards your side of the stage and says, I think that her raising her hand, you see that the crowd has a recognition. This is a former champion of this event, and when she raises her hand, people pause, and she says, I think that today's competition has revealed a clear winner for this year's Tournament of Tales, Aesopp Cheern. And
I'll do a bow.
Round of applause. Everybody is ecstatic, and Heart Crusher kind of looks down at her maul on the ground and just gives like whatever kind of look. And as the crowd sort of continues, you are by Avendir sort of gestured onto the sort of into this middle platform area. I assume is there anything you do as you're sort of just like basking in victory for a moment?
After my bows, I just kind of look at the left stars and I just kind of give them a thumbs up, like thanks. And I look into the crowd. I try to find Jory because I didn't try to find him before, and if I lay eyes on him, just kind of give him a little wink and a smile. Thinking about how even like a few months before all this, I never thought I would be here. Never thought that I would ever have this opportunity. So I'm just kind of taking in the space. Almost like it almost feels like I'm in a dream, but I know everything just happened. Sort of sensation. It doesn't feel real yet. But I'm enjoying it.
What does Aesopp see as he sort of turns towards the left stars? How are folks reacting in this moment?
Cheering and pounding on the table and raising drinks.
Yep, Clax is still trying to get the crowd up in celebration of Aesopp kind of doing the whole thing, pointing over, kind of, let's go. If a beer happens to be walking by, grab a beer, but just really trying to still keep the crowd going, enjoying this moment, trying to make it something that Aesopp will never forget.
Anything from Drawdar or Flint? Or sorry, Drawdar or Mouse?
I think Drada's just sitting there, real happy and real proud. Not going crazy, but just looking like hands clasped, like maybe a dramatic single tear, those vibes.
This is participating in the celebration and cheering on her friend.
And your eyes cross Jory as well, who's sort of like, in this moment, everybody is kind of doing like the long standing ovation, and Jory is up there in the front row, clapping, at the rhythm and excitement of everybody else around. And he kind of like just gives you a soft wink, as you sort of your eyes turn and you see like Avendir is sort of like opening up space for you to come to the middle.
With that soft wink back, you just see a little bit of blood started going down his Aesopp's nose. Just be like, oh God. And just remembering where I am. Just focus. And then I turn to Avenir and go. Just wipe away the blood.
Through the entire, like, people are still clapping as this happens. And I'm moving tokens. I don't really have to. Moving tokens just for mild visuals, but as people are clapping, Avendir kind of gives you a clap on the back, and you see that I forgot to mention this earlier, but the sort of like glowing thing in the middle here is a kind of like a pin that has been sort of like set up as like an ornamental trophy of sorts, and you look at it closely for the first time, and you see that it is sort of a it has a sort of gold metal engraved motif of a treble clef on it, and it has sort of like a, I don't want to call it like cast iron, or not cast iron, the word's failing me. It has a pattern on it that sort of gives it this strange pearlescent sheen to it, even though the material itself is gold. And Irelia sort of carefully grabs it, and then walks up to you and sort of lifts up your the outer layer. Or you're wearing, I think she would not pin it on your cloak. She would sort of like pin it sort of, well, she would pin it front facing, so probably be on the front of the cloak. And you see that you sort of look down on it and feel just a slight warmth coming off of it, as Avendir kind of claps you on the back, and the rest of you can't hear this over the sound of clapping, but Avendir says, "You did well. Impressed with everything you did out there. Thank you very much."
Thank you for sponsoring me and believing in me when you didn't have to.
You made it easy. And Irelia kind of gently pins it on you, and then sort of like echoes once again, like another round of applause for Aesopp Tiern, and people kind of continue their eruption. And she walks away from this moment, and you see her kind of go back, and like she's sort of assuming her position on the piano, as if once this is over, people are probably going to want to get their drink on, and so she is getting ready to continue the night of festivities. It is there are sort of a group of people that are sort of making their leave. Nobody in particular. Kind of like the event has sort of reached its climax, and and it is finished. But Avendir sort of speaks up and says, "With my champion having won, I suppose drinks are on me tonight." And you hear several people who were walking out suddenly like turn right back around. And you find yourselves in the hustle and bustle of a kind of night at the tavern, as Avendir says, like, can walk you back to your friends? And he's sort of like gesturing, like he'll bring you back to your table with the left stars.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He pulls out an extra chair for you as Aesopp sits down, and you are all able to like talk to Aesopp for the first time in the last like half hour or so that this competition's been taking place.
Y'all, we did that. That was insane. The hype that you
did
guys made.
that?
Like, school performance, Strata with that like awesome chant. Thank you guys so much. It means a lot, and it's crazy because when you actually think about it, we kind of met. We haven't known each other for a very long time, but all of the support that you guys have brought and given means the world.
Make a good team.
I'm just glad me being loud didn't screw something up this time.
Speaking of that,
Not that you can't speak about whatever you want. I do want to be clear that Avendir sat down with you, just so you know. He's currently present.
I kind of look at Avendir. I'm like, someone put a little woo on me during one of the other crowds. Johnson hubbubaloo made me feel like lethargic and tired.
I mean, he sort of in a soft smile glances at Mouse and sort of says, "Well, the crowd participated in various ways."
I look at Clax. I'm like, they sure have. Only seems like there's a little bit of a pattern, but
Well, if you all, if there's anything I can do for you tonight, please let me know. I want to give you your space, but I did just want to say, of course, congratulations. I want to take back something I said a moment ago. In the heat of the moment, I said that my champion won and therefore everybody deserves drinks. But you didn't. I mean, I may have created this opportunity for you, but I should not be taking credit for any of this. This was all you.
no, you're absolutely fine. I just appreciate you giving me the opportunity.
You see from behind Avendir, one of his, it's not just one of his attendants, it's actually Gris who walks up carrying a cask for dropping it on the, not dropping, setting it gently upon the table. Familiar, small, but as you know, valuable cask that that has like a scroll, a little scroll that's affixed to it on a string. And he just sort of says, "Nice to see you all again. Great job, Aesopp.
Thank you.
And thanks for I was talking to Irelia, and it sounds like the whole Tazar thing is all wrapped up. So I just wanted to say thanks for that as well. But yeah, I'll be around. So hope to work with you soon."
Why don't you pull up a chair? Sorry.
I mean, he gives you the look. He gives everybody the look. It's like, well, if you're inviting me, but he's trying to get a read on if that's okay with everybody else. All right, Avenir's like, well, I gotta run. I'll hopefully see you. And then he sort of like stands up and gives Gris his chair.
Maybe Aesopp, you were about to say something when I yelled at Gris.
Oh no, just the only reason why I brought it up is just it might have been your lady might be here. I know you didn't find her earlier, so that's why I wanted to bring it up.
True. And then actually just one thing is from someone who's been in competition for a long time. Might be worth going and seeing if Heart Crusher wants to have a drink with you too.
It's not a
Even
bad
though
idea.
You can
Not a
even
bad idea.
apologize for someone saying someone delivering that really devastating burn that she's bald.
Yeah, I couldn't think of a good one. I think all that looks good, but I don't know. I fumbled.
You all did really great, you guys. And on that note, I will do that because that's what a good person does, right? So I'll walk off and walk over to Heart Crusher and
You
offer.
were immediately intercepted by Jory before you can get there.
Yes,
who was
I
waiting
do
for
not mind.
who was waiting for an opportunity and didn't want to intrude on your table. And you're sort of you're intercepted with sort of like a diving hug of it's like and he goes for the full hug and then just sort of like looks up at you and says, I always knew you could do it.
Did you always know I was that shady?
I mean,
I had a lot of practice back in the day when we all just used to make fun of each other a lot. So I guess.
Yeah.
But
it's all fun and games. We like it.
Yeah, it's all fun and games.
We've given you some too, I'm sure.
No,
especially Bruce.
Oh, yeah, there is too much material there. Sadly for him, great for us. I just appreciate you being here and supporting.
Yeah, I mean, I unfortunately need to head out tomorrow. I was only given so much leave. I know I heard something about didn't they say something about a party for the winter? Unfortunately, I don't know if I'll be able to stick around that long.
I have not heard such a thing.
Oh, well, maybe inside knowledge there's going to be a party for you. Not today, I don't think, but unfortunately I have to get back, so...
I understand.
But...
You and your new job and everything. Wink, wink.
Well, and now... Well, I don't want to, should I tell my boss that my friend won? Would that help me?
I mean, you weren't completely supporting, on the team supporting me. You were on the stands, you were cheering and clapping.
Oh yeah,
I don't see
no,
why
I mean,
not.
I don't think. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he's kind of a stern guy. I don't think he'd really care.
I mean, you know him best, so
yeah,
probably up to you. But let me know where you're. Are you still living in that same place, or did you move?
Back in Constant. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They gave me because I'm working there. They just gave me sort of like permanent students' quarters. So.
Oh. So if I ever make it over there, I know where to go.
Yeah. But I mean, he looks out the window, and at this point, you realize it's 9 a.m. still. This is a morning, or 9 a.m., 10 a.m. This is a morning competition. He says, I'm not leaving until tomorrow. So once you're done making the rounds, I mean, I'll be free if you want to do anything.
Great. Yeah. There's actually something that I want to show you.
Cool. I was gonna go do a little shopping first. Can I just meet you back here in a few hours?
Absolutely. I understand the importance of shopping, so please take your time.
I'll save some shopping for the both of us. I just want to pick up a few things.
You know me so well.
All right. See you soon. Congratulations again.
Thank you. Stay safe, and I'll see you later.
He gives you another light shoulder nothing too tight.
Right.
Sort of the I'll see you soon hug.
Right.
And he exits.
I'll continue my way over to Heart Crusher.
Okay.
And offer to buy her a drink and some non-alcoholic drink for me.
She says, Avenir said drinks were on the house, but I appreciate it.
Oh, that's right. Dang it. As a good sport, I will. How much would be a normal drink here?
she looks back at your table and says, I mean, you've got drinks over there, don't you? She's looking at the cask.
I don't know if I can just totally take
All right,
charge of that.
Just sit down.
It's I think it was a group effort.
Yeah, she just sort of like, she was joking, and she just like drags you to a stool at the
Yeah,
bar.
I did not get the joke.
She just says, all right, you beat me. Good job.
That was a fair match. Did you actually mean some of the things that you said?
I mean, let's just say that should we ever meet in a more martial tournament, I think I have the advantage.
I am not disagreeing with you. Not at all.
But I respect what you're doing. So it's all
And
good.
I respect you as well.
Well, I got a fun time out of this. It's all good. That pin looks better on you than it does me. It's not my style.
Yeah, it doesn't. There's not a lot of. What is your style, if I may ask?
Sort of the more like killing things.
Loose material. Shredded.
More like I am all about the action, not the talking about the action. So,
Was that a read on me? So you're more of a function over beauty, and I'm more of a
What are you
beauty over
saying?
function.
Are you calling me ugly?
I'm just playing off what you said to me.
It's fine. Yeah, no, we're good. No, I mean, if you find yourself in Dusklight and looking for a scrap, or you want to stay in touch, let me know.
Absolutely. I imagine that we'll somehow end up in Dusklight for any reason, so we'll make sure to stop by and say hello.
All right, you can buy me that drink then, because all this shit is free.
Right? Yes, I forgot he did say that.
Yep. All right.
Have a good night or day.
She just sort of laughs and says, "Be good."
Be safe. I'll walk away.
During those two conversations, is the table of everybody else plus Gris doing anything?
Me just catching up with Gris, So what have you been up to? How are things going? Just trying to see if I can get any intel on what's been going on, what he's been up to.
Once we finished up all the deliveries, we kind of just head here. I mean, he sort of looks at all of you and says, like, are you planning on, I mean, I can talk about it, but are you planning on joining the company before I go sharing all the stuff?
You have to forgive me when you say joining the company. I mean,
like, I know Avendir was going to offer you guys a job or something.
I kind of look over at Flint for help.
I mean, I'm sort of assuming we take it, but we haven't really talked about it as a group, I suppose. Like, I think we will.
I mean, it's a good gig. I mean, I don't think I mean, my role is sort of I shouldn't say too much just because, like,
That's fine.
What I will say is, like, my role tends to be in the distribution of his most prized product, and as he sort of like indicates to the cask on the table, unless it's already been stuffed in a bag, but he says, like, I don't think he needs more security like me, but he takes care of his people, and so whatever he has planned for you. I'm sure you'll be treated well, and that you'll find uh, that what we do is of value.
Is there anything like, as we're pondering any further employment, like we should know about Avendir? I think Drada is asking us in the way of like, when you're applying for a job and like going for like not an interview,
Yeah,
but like to meet someone
what's
from
the
the
boss
company.
like? Or
Yeah,
any
very much
employees quit
that
recently?
energy.
Yeah.
That energy.
He just sort of openly responds and feels like, well, I mean, I can tell you my experience. Is there any like specific questions you have?
No, I mean, if you're willing to share your experiences, that'd be great.
I mean, he cares about people. Like the whole Tazar thing. That was he was his right hand at the time, and he, you know, it might be a little weird from your perspective to hire through the Heroes Academy to find people to solve that. The reality is, I had figured most of it out before you were even sent there. I didn't have the sort of strength to handle it myself, but I heard the shit going down in that cellar. I didn't know about all the other crypt stuff that apparently you guys had to deal with, but anyway, he, you know, he cared about Tazar. Tazar wasn't just like some grunt that, you know, if he died on the job, you'd leave him at the bottom of a ditch. His family is being well taken care of, and they are receiving both the emerald you provided and kind of guidance on what to do with it, because apparently Aurelia just told me it's complicated. But it's sort of leaving that decision up to the family to decide, with the guidance on what can be done. And you know, yeah, I mean he's about to become the Lord of Vind, and you know there's some pretty shitty people there, I've heard, and he wants to be better about that. So that's sort of him in a nutshell.
Thank you for sharing.
When does this new brandy start being auctioned off?
I believe.
I know we've got the first cask.
Yeah. He says off the top of my head, I know we sent out the notices a few weeks ago. They got mailed off, but I think that they're starting in the fall, and there's gonna be like an auction held in a city every week throughout all of fall.
How much do you expect a cask to go for?
Fresh cask. I mean, it's sort of like what happened the other day where everybody got a free taste is sort of like an opportunity for some of the experts to do their appraisals leading up to the auctions. But if it's anything like last year, the average cask went for about, I think it was like somewhere between 10 and 12,000 gold. And they get and that's like the fresh vintage. I mean, if you're going back 20 years, we're talking 50. So, but those ones, I mean, most of those are gone. So,
well, it's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
well, spend it well, drink it well, do as you wish. I don't know. I mean, what do you have plans? At this point, Aesopp rejoins the table, I would say.
I mean,
Hey,
I,
Grace.
had, I hadn't considered that we would have that kind of money. I have no idea.
I mean, I will say, like, you can't just, like, it's not money unless you're selling it to somebody who wants it. You bring that to the general store and they'll give you 100 gold for it at most. So, you know, if that's your intent, which you're more than welcome to do, you know, I would maybe attend one of these auctions and see if there's anybody who maybe lost an auction that wants to make a deal. I wouldn't recommend just like flaunting it though.
Sure. At which point, Flint might start putting it into the bag of holding and getting it out of general view.
There was a scroll attached to it, wasn't there?
That has the command phrase to open it on it.
Hmm.
I advise somebody memorize that and then destroy it.
Fair.
Not here, just when you get the chance. And when you use it, just so you know, you can't close it again. So it's sort of like it pops the seal, so to speak. Yeah, I was actually told to come tell you this eventually anyway. I didn't expect to sit down and have this conversation now, but I would just advise, you know, don't open it unless you're ready to enjoy it, or and don't, you know, don't give anybody the password unless you want them to be able to own it. Each cask has its own unique password, and so the one that is tied to it is specific to this cask. So just, I mean, food for thought. Do what you want to do. The night, or sorry, the morning is just sort of continuing. Drinks and food has been brought to your table. You sort of like give a scan of the area, and you know, for the most part, people are coming in and out. I'll say for the sake of brevity, like a couple people have come over to congratulate Aesopp. Nobody that like are obvious sort of enemies, like Buttles did not do it. Bali Brightbeard did not do it. I would say the other contenders come up and congratulate you and wish you well. You know, Destin is grateful for the help that you gave him in the first round when you sort of told him to go talk to Aurelia to get performance support. Atiel, through her assistant, is shows appreciation for your style of storytelling and for, like her, sort of having a focus of saving people. The impression you get is that she wasn't probably too impressed with Heart Crusher and Destin's performance of just like killing the fire elementals and kind of like leaving the world to burn otherwise. But so she seems to be sort of appreciative of that like compassion that you showed. But people cycle in and out, and I'll say, you know, because I think we're getting pretty late, but I do want to just have a couple more quick things before we wrap up. At some point, Aurelia comes by, taking a break from the piano, and sort of she sits at the bar, but sort of like makes eyes with Aesopp, and the sort of like the stools open, like she wants to come talk to you, but doesn't want to come to the table.
I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll be right back, guys. Oh, don't worry. I'll go over to the bar and sit right down next to her.
she sort of I should be clear. She is not sitting on the outside edge. She's actually like she's in the bartender role at the moment. She
Oh,
sort of like signaled you to sit in front of her.
got it. Okay. So I'll
yeah.
go over and be like, wow, that was a crazy last round, wasn't it? How'd your round go if you did something like that?
Competition was quite different back then, but no, I mean you did quite well. I well, let's just say I wasn't expecting I wasn't expecting somebody that I've never heard of before to do that well.
Oh.
Which I don't mean to be an insult. I just
Have
did
you
great.
have you heard of the other competitors?
No, not necessarily, but I
Okay.
have I haven't heard of a Titlefall student that sort of was able to stand on the stage and perform in the way that you did. So
Yeah, I was one of the select few at the university who had special training. If you are you affiliated with the university at all?
I am an alum from some time ago.
Oh, well, we are alums together.
In more ways than one, champion.
Oh, that is true. Wow, look at us. If I don't know if he was there during your time, but Dr. Drubel kind of helped me out with a little bit of the magic pizzazz that I tend to showcase.
I'm gonna give her a roll for that. She kind of gives sort of a look of like, I don't think the name isn't familiar, but if you say that he is a great teacher, then I think that shows. Although it seems like you are the one who's shining today, so.
Well, thank you. I definitely learned from the best for sure. But I also wasn't able to win without my friends backing me up and supporting me, which I don't think I can ever thank enough, quite honestly.
I think that's what Breath said at the beginning is true. It's a hero is only as strong as the people they keep behind him. You think that anybody who's successful does it alone?
It's true. Which I don't know if you know the answer to this question, but why did everyone else show up alone?
Well, it's sort of you were invited thanks to the sort of clause that says that the host of the event gets to bring the champion, or gets to elect their own champion. The other three are elected from the dukes and duchesses of their respective regions of Ventus, and generally speaking, the level of engagement that those dukes and duchesses have are more geared to making an appearance than necessarily trying to win, which does not undercut your performance at all. They certainly brought their best and brightest of the young talent, but I will say that like there are people out and about in the world who would have given you a stronger running.
I bet.
And crews of people that may have cut your crowd to shreds, but I don't think you should take that as if it was an unfair advantage. There were people in that crowd fighting you just as hard as your crowd is fighting theirs.
No, yeah, I kind of got raised with a philosophy of just there's always someone that's going to be better than you. So try to stay humble with the skills and knowledge that you have and just continue practicing on your skills and crafts. Um, and I try not to let, which is why I didn't think I would ever find myself in this opportunity. I just try not to let my magic like consume me like that because I've seen it before being at Titlefall.
Well, you're a champion now. With that comes some prestige. And of course, I know that you've been warned about this, like, the heroic quest that might land on your desk here soon. The sort of, like, tertiary reward from the city.
Were you given that same reward? May I ask what that quest was?
I had one. Give me a persuasion check. And I know that, again, you have Silver Tongue, but I'm going to say the DC is 20, just so you know.
Okay, so it's high.
Okay, I mean, just roll high. She says, I will tell you what I understand, just to set expectations for you. These quests are often impossible, or thought to be impossible. They are almost performative things that the king wants that perhaps are lost to history or thought that they can't be done. And so they're sort of thrown in front of the champions of the Tournament of Tales to say, well, you say that you're good, but are you a hero? Or are you brave enough to try this? The quest that I had been given was to find a lost city that had been sucked into a bottle and thrown into a volcano. And nobody quite knew where it was at the time, but through my sort of magical divination means and ingenuity, I was able to not only locate it, but retrieve it. That's a long story and not one for the moment, but when I presented it to the king, I was given an audience. And that's how I sort of earned my name as a sort of more recognizable figure in this crowd. She sort of like indicates to the room when she says this crowd. So whatever you're given, I expect it will be. Don't be surprised if it's a little over the top. If you choose to take it on, great. Most people don't. And I'll say, if you do happen to take it on and succeed, don't be surprised if there are people who discount your success as well. People who, the short version I'll say is that people who thought that the mission was impossible suggested that I stole the city, and it was staged that I would win the competition so that I could retrieve the city. You know, all sorts of nonsense. People like to tell stories in this profession.
I've seen and heard.
So whatever you get, take it. If you wish to have an audience with the king for any reason, that's one way in. Or you could just sort of live your humble life and do the things that you want to do.
I appreciate the information. Thank you, Aurelian. I'm assuming you had friends to help you along the way of your quest as well.
I did.
Still in contact with them?
She nods.
That's good. I just kind of look back at the left stars and I'm like, I hope the same for myself.
Well, I suppose you... She sort of like stands up from sort of the leaning position that she was in at the bar and says, "Well, I won't keep you waiting."
Have a good night, Aurelian. And thank you.
She nods and returns to the piano. And at the risk of going any further, I'm going to call it there.
Ooh.
There will be the next chapter, and you'll see what happens to the Left Stars and their reigning champion at some
Yes.
point.
Such an amazing game again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You.
Good game.